And to think that, you know, because we all have our different ways of working, but I think one of the things that you're talking about is that kind of addiction recovery journey, and then the other side of that, the response to that. The response seems to be ever changing, you know, in terms of different approaches, but they're not always in line with the evidence, or the evidence is interpreted a certain way because of political expediency, or because this is popular and that's not. What you're talking about is kind of understanding people, their journey, the trauma, looking at people as assets that are not, you know, when a treatment organization looks at a client, they often look at them as their client, or they look at them as an asset that they can monetize for their own purposes. So look at how good our program is, look at how successful we are, and here's our evidence. And they wheel out the former addicts in recovery doing well. And they don't do that in the sense of let's celebrate these people. It's here is our evidence that our way works, give us more money. So in many ways, someone like me in recovery becomes a monetized asset for a particular treatment service or a particular philosophy that might work, as opposed to another one that's less effective. But what we as people in recovery really crave is just to be people, and just to have the reins of our life back in our own hands, and to be part of a community that helps and supports each other, and that improves the soil of society, you know, for everyone else. Because what's the saying, you know, a rising tide raises all boats. And so if people like me can get help and then become the help for other people, the whole of society benefits. I don't want to lock people in recovery into just addicts who need treatment, or just criminals who need to be incarcerated. You know, we're just people. And I think your voice coming back and talking in the way that you have today adds to the humanity of the system, you know. So we will just hopefully get treated as people who are on a journey, and we can celebrate that journey, and that can be disseminated for others to learn what they can from that. Sounds a bit idealistic, I know, but
let me just say something in relation to that. I mean, first of all, thank you for your kind words. And I think I probably have got a unique journey. I'm not so sure anyone has taken this journey that I've taken for neuroscience, and then, but we haven't actually mentioned one thing during this talk, which we've alluded to, but we've never actually mentioned it. So it's a good way. This is the time we need to say it. Recovery comes from the person. Recovery is self-healing. Practitioners, they don't fix people. They catalyze and support the natural processes of recovery. So many practitioners I have met think they're the ones doing the work, and they do exactly what you say. You know, when we were really battling to get the idea of what recovery was really about, you know, when in my early days of IDN, and then when we took Bill White's message and put it out there, finally they started to talk about the treatment agencies. We're doing recovery. They weren't doing anything different to what they were doing before. What they were doing was using the word to help them get money, because they were worried that the MTA might suddenly decide to fund recovery. It was all about the services, and there's this beautiful thing between one of Bill White's papers that Roland Lamb, who was one of the leaders with Arthur Evans in changing the system in Philadelphia from the old system to recovery. And they did research along the way, and they showed that the system and the people within it had all the characteristics of addicts: blame, denial, grandiosity. And then when they finally start to celebrate the recovery, it's only to wheel them out to get more money. Now, I'm not saying, well, of course, not all treatment services are like that, but
No.
I saw a lot of that.
Yeah.
And I also, having communicated with a lot of, for example, the rehabs, I contacted them and said, these are the things we can do. We've got the secure internet-based system. We can do relapse prevention. We do dum, blum, blum, blum.
Yeah.
These are the people who we're working with. We were doing it with FedApp, Simon Shepherd of the Federation of Drug and Alcohol Professionals.
Yeah.
If you all put in a little bit of money, we could build something special.
Yeah.
I may have got one and most 2 replies.
Yeah.
Nobody got back.
Yeah.
Out of courtesy, you might have, I would never have dreamt of not replying to someone.
Yeah.
So, you know, but we must never forget that you guys did the work, you know.
And, you know,
your recovery, you know, that's what it's about. And so we've got to celebrate that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I you know, I want to do more and more, you know, there's, I think we're in an age that we've never been in before. You know, we all have these devices. There is an infrastructure out there of free communications. I say free, I mean, it's clearly, it's a tracking device that allows me to make phone calls, you know, but it you know, that aside, once you embrace the fact that there is this technology out there that I certainly never had growing up. You know, when I grew up in a house that didn't even have a phone. My dad never had a car. But now, you know, we spend a lot of money on communications and we can't travel as much as we used to. And that electronic infrastructure has become even more important. And there are free versions of everything out there. I mean, I think the only paid version of anything that I've got is this Zoom account, because I decided actually what I need is a professional Zoom account where I can record. There's a couple of other bits that I think I need, but, you know, generally I've got a free Facebook account, a free Instagram account, free social media, left, right, and center. And that information, I think what we're doing, this story, this content, you know, which is the modern parlance for, you know, original information, is just content, is going to grow. I mean, I think what you talked about putting up on your blog and all those briefings, it's just so rich. You know, I don't think I'm going to be able to read them all in my lifetime. To read you, and Bill White, and John Kelly, and David Best, you know, it's amazing.
But we got choice.
Yeah.
If we have a richness, we can choose which.
Yeah, absolutely. And that means others can as well.